Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. I wanted to do a mini album today, and I decided to go ahead and make it like a tutorial. So I have been obsessed with making mini albums. There's a few ladies here on YouTube that I follow, and I've learned so much about making these little albums. So yesterday I sat down and I mapped out a mini album. And it's a really small album. It's a 5x7 landscape album, and I wanted to make it with you guys. So if you are interested in following along with me and making this album, I will go over the things that I am using for this album. So first off, I'm using some cardstock, and I'm using 110-pound cardstock, the white from Recollections at Michael's. I'm also using the 65-pound paper, and then I'm also using some medium weight chipboard, and I get my chipboard from off of Amazon, and it's by Graphics. And I will try to link these items in the description box below. You'll also need some basic scissors. I always use a ruler to measure. I use my little pokey tool. Also, you'll be needing a scoreboard. So I like to use this. We are Memory Keeper scoreboard. This is the large one. You will need some sort of a paper trimmer or paper cutter, and I love my guillotine paper cutter. So I'm going to be using that, and also some double-sided adhesive. I have eighth of an inch, quarter of an inch, half an inch, and then I also have 1 inch. You don't need all of these. I just like to take them out in case I need different sizes, and since I have an abundance of them, and I also get these from Amazon, I will be using these. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started, and this will be my first time actually making a mini album on camera, so hopefully you guys will be able to follow along with me okay. And if you have any questions, please feel free to comment in the description box below. But for the chipboard, I'm going to be using probably 2 pieces, and these are 8.5 by 11 inch medium chipboard pieces. And we're going to start off by making our cover for the mini album. So I'm going to go ahead and cut my chipboard, and that's why I love this guillotine paper trimmer, because, or paper cutter, because it cuts this very well. So the size that we will need for our cover is 5 1/4 by 7.5 inches, and then for our spine we're going to need 3 inches by 5 1/4. So I'm going to go ahead and cut my front and back covers first. So I'm going to cut it at 5 1/4 by 7.5. I always keep my scraps of my chipboard. So I'm going to cut another one at 5 1/4. So one sheet will give you your front and back cover by 7.5. Okay. So these 2 pieces are the cover. And so for the spine, I'm going to cut at 3 inches. And then I'm going to cut at 5 1/4. So this is a landscape size mini album. Okay, so that is the front and back covers with the spine, and then for the book covering, I'm going to use the 65-pound paper because it won't crack on me like the 110 pound will. I will be using the 110 pound paper for the pages. So I'm going to move that out the way until it's time for me to do my pages. Okay, so I won't be cutting this yet. So you'll take your 2. And what I like to do before I start is to go ahead and add double-sided tape to all my pieces. So I'm just going to cover the back of all my pieces here. And this is the good thing about having the 1 inch is you can cover more surface and it takes a little less time. So I'm just going all the way across, and if you have some overage, you could definitely just cut that off. Now this piece is going to hang over, so this is where I'm going to use 1/2 inch. All right, here. And 1/4 inch. And if you don't have double-sided tape, you can use liquid adhesive as well. It's up to you. And then I use my bone folder here and just press it down really good. And there's a little bit of tape hanging over, so I'm just going to use my scissors and cut that off just like that. So just cut the overage off like that. Okay. And then go ahead and cover the spine piece as well. And I'm not going to speed this video up or trim it down because the one thing I like about watching a tutorial on how to make something is if I can watch it without having to worry about being, I don't want to say rushed, but missing something. And just I like when I can just take my time and follow the tutorial. So I'm definitely sorry if this turns out to be a really long video, but I might have to make it in 2 separate videos here. So just burnish the tape down really well. So we have our, now we'll take 2 sheets of 8.5 by 11 65-pound cardstock, and we want to lay them landscape, and we want to take a piece of double-sided tape and we want to attach these together. So I am taking my 1/2 inch tape and I'm going to start at the top and just carefully place the tape just as close as I can to the edge of my paper, just like that. So sorry if you can't see it very well. And so next I am going to take my paper piercer tool and I'm just going to use the corner, pull that up, and just tab it back. That way I can place the second sheet on top and get it lined up. Get it lined up the way I want it, press it, and then I can pull the tab and go ahead and adhere it together. So just like that. So next you want to come back in with your front and back cover sheets and your spine. And so where the place where these two pages meet is where I'm gonna center my spine piece. So my spine will go about right here. And then I will leave about 1/8 of an inch in between. Sorry, it's landscape. An 1/8 of a space in between. So I'm going to go ahead and take off the backing of my tape. And we'll go ahead and place our covers in our spine. And we'll go ahead and wrap this. So just so you guys won't have to sit through a super long video in one sitting, then I may make this separate parts. But it's a really easy album to make. And the thing I like about this size is that it won't take me all day to embellish and decorate it and add my pattern papers and things. And the 5x7 albums are great for 4x6 photos. So I'm going to get some of this out of the way. And go ahead and take off my spine because I'm going to place my spine first. I got a vanilla cappuccino here. Alright, so I'll go ahead and place my spine, and I'm going to use my ruler, and I want to leave at least 1 inch border around. So I'm just going to take my spine here, and I'm just going to use my ruler, and I want to center my spine on the two areas where this meets. So that's what I'm going to do. And place it about right there. And I'm just holding my ruler in place. Just press down really good. So now I can put down my two covers. So I like to place my ruler up under my spine piece, and I use my ruler as a guide to do my 1/8 of an inch marking in between. So I like to do that. My hands are shaking. I like to do that. Keep it lined up with my ruler, and then carefully place it down. So that way it's pretty straight. And then I push my ruler over to this side and I do the same thing. So to get that 1/8 of an inch so that my book will close right. So I'm going to do the same thing for this one. I'm going to line it up at the 1/8 of an inch mark and keep my ruler flush up against my pieces, and then push down so that I can get good spacing. Alright, So now I can trim off a little bit around the edges. So that's what I'm going to do. So you want to leave at least an inch around, and it really doesn't matter if you don't cut straight, because I don't cut straight. So I'm just cutting excess off. It just decreases the bulk that you have to deal with. Okay. I'm going to cut a little bit off on this side as well. And I'm just eyeballing it, so you just want to get rid of about enough so that you would have that 1-inch border all the way around this whole piece. All right. Next, you'll get the sides. So. All right. Now, I like to kind of just prepare my paper to bend. This is a nice trick that I picked up over time doing these albums. So you just gently just kind of crease your papers up. You see that? All the way around. And this will help keep your paper from cracking when you bend it over. Okay, so next I like to go ahead and add double-sided tape all the way around. So I'm going to use the 1/2-inch tape here for this. So I just start from one end and go to the other end. Turn it around and do the same for this side. And just add my double-sided tape. And this is my 1/2 inch again. And I'm going to go in with 1/4 inch to get the rest. And I got my 1/4 inch right here. So I'm just going to add a little to the area that I missed. And Dollar Tree also sells this double-sided adhesive. I didn't really have to go all the way to the edge right there, but I did. It's fine because I'm going to cut my edges off. And sorry, I don't have a large enough space where you can see a full view. I haven't been using my craft desk with my overhead mounting, so which would have been better. But I've changed around some stuff here in my room, and I had to push my desk back. So, all right. So we got all our tape on. Just burnish it down. Okay. So now we need to cut the corners where these two meet. Just cut a slither off. So right across. And this helps to debulk as well. And you want to leave just a tiny bit, barely a pinch, you want to leave so that you can cover that corner tip. So I'm going to do the same thing for this side. And I'm just eyeballing it. You could actually use your ruler if you like, just to make sure you get really good placement. But as long as you leave just a smidgen in between the corner of your chipboard and your paper, so that you can cover the ends and keep them from being super pointy. So again, we're just going to kind of fold our papers up so that they are ready to fold over. So now I'm just removing my double-sided adhesive backing, and I'm going to go ahead and just carefully fold this over like that. Just use my bone folder to go over that. Now right here is where it's important to use maybe your finger, your fingernail, or your bone folder. I like to use the tip of my bone folder and push that extra small piece that we left, push it inward, and that'll cover that tip. So if you push it in, see how I've pushed it in right there, just like that. And once you fold that over, that'll cover the tip. So you can do that on all sides. Just push that little piece in. Just be gentle with it because you don't want to tear your cardstock. So I'm going to go ahead and do the long sides, and then I'll do my short sides. And just gently fold over and press. Use your bone folder, or you can just use your hands to press. And I just like to go over the edges one more time before I hit the short sides. So just remove the backing again and go ahead and fold over. So you can push that in and fold over. So then I just go around with my bone folder, just around it a little bit more. Press down so you have clean edges. And just like that, just go around. All right, so we have our front and back cover and the spine. We have that all covered. So next, just use your bone folder and just barely kind of crease where the separation is between your boards. Just barely run over that, and this will help the album close. So just gently fold up on both sides, just like that. And now we have our cover to our album. So it's going to be really cute. Flip over album to add some 4x6 pictures. So the next thing we are going to do is make our binding part. So I'm also going to use 65-pound paper for that, and we're going to use just one sheet of the 65-pound paper for this, and we are going to cut this sheet down to 4 3/4 by 11. So since it's already 11 long, we're just going to cut it to 4 3/4. Okay, so that's this one piece will make our binding. And I like to keep my scraps. I have a box over to the side for all my scraps. Okay, so now you can pull out the scoreboard. And on the 11-inch side, we want to start our scoring. And so for this, we are going to score. We're going to score at 1 inch. Then we're going to score at 3/4 of an inch. So go right over to 1 3/4, I should say. Okay, and then we're going to score at 2 3/4 of an inch. And then we're going to score at 3 3/4 of an inch. Okay, and then we're going to score at 4 1/2. And then we're going to score at 5 1/2. Then we're going to score at 6 1/2. And then we're going to score at 7 1/4. And then we're going to score at 8 1/4. And then we're going to score at 9 1/4. And then we're going to score at 10. And 10 will be our last score line. Okay, so we have all our score marks. So the 2 1-inch, if you can see this, we're going to start not at this first score line, but at the second score line with these 2 1-inch sections. We'll skip this 3/4 of an inch section and fold the next 2 1-inch together. Skip, fold the next 2, so that we'll have 3 signature or bindings for our 3 signatures. So I'm going to start here, and I'm just going to fold up and crease. And I like to crease both ways. So these are the 2 1-inch sections, the first 2 1-inch sections. I'm going to skip this 3/4 of an inch section and fold up and crease the next 2 1-inch together. And then I'm going to do the same thing, which gives me 3. So I have 3 heels right here. This is what our 3 pages are going to hang on to. So next, we'll turn this over, and on one side of each of the heels, under the bottom of each of the heels, we'll add our double-sided tape. So, and I like to add my double-sided tape closest to the score line here. So I'm gonna use 1/2 inch tape to do this. So, and I'll just make it close to the score line, but not over the score line. And I'm gonna do that to each one of the heels. Alright, so then I'm just going to press them with my bone folder really well. Alright, and then we'll remove the tape and remove the backing and go ahead and adhere them together. So just squeeze them together, just like that. Do the next one. I went over with my tape, so I'm going to bend that over so that, okay, and then go ahead and press those 2 together. Just really good. Alright, and then the last one. So that's what we have. This is our hinge system that we're going to hang our pages on. Okay, and the 65-pound paper makes them a lot more flexible so that your pages will turn without cracking, without the base cracking on you. So then we can turn this over and add adhesive to the back, and you can use double-sided or liquid, whichever you want. I'm going to use the thick tape for this one, the 1-inch. And so I'm going to start at the top and go all the way down. I'm just going to cover the whole backing of this carefully. I'll use 1/2 inch to cover this piece. And then we'll go with the last 1/4 inch, right close to that. So just make sure you have it covered really well and burnish it really well. And you can turn it over and lift your pieces here. Alright, so I do like to add a little liquid adhesive to the bottom of my spine piece, my binding piece, sorry. Over top of that, and I know that might be like overkill. I'm just cutting off the overage. But I just like to make sure that the album is put together really well and it won't fall apart on me, depending on how much I embellish or how many pictures I add. So now I'm going to bring out my spine piece here. I mean my cover piece, and we'll be working with the spine. So there's 2 score lines that we didn't mess with earlier. These 2 score lines will line up with the score lines on our base book, the spine area. So they'll line up just like that. So let's remove our backing and go ahead and add the binding to our book. And the more you burnish, the better you'll be able to pull that backing off, or the easier, I should say. So I'm going to use some art glitter glue just a little bit of extra security. So I'm just going to do a really light coverage just all the way around here. Just really light. Try not to be super heavy-handed, because I tend to be when it comes to my glue. Alright, so next I am just going to line my piece up and centering it right in the middle, and go ahead and press down in between each of my hinges all the way until I get to the end, just like that. So just really well, and just make sure this part is adhered really well before you go on to your next step. Alright, so that looks good. So we have 3. Then you're going to go ahead and do what you did before and just use your bone folder and just barely run over where your score lines are, and this will help your book to close. And then just gently hold and fold up, hold and fold up. Okay, so we got our book cover and our hinges. Next, I am going to go ahead and cut a couple of pieces to mat on the inside of my book. And I do use pattern paper in this area, but I like to cover that as well. So for this, I will be using the regular 65-pound cardstock as well. And I'm going to use 2 pieces that measure 6 5/8 by 4 3/4. So I'm just going to take one of those and I'm going to cut 4 3/4. and then 6 5/8. So if you're not sure about that, I find it easy just to count over 5 pegs on here. So this is 6 inches, and then this is 6 1/8, 2/8, 3/8, 4/8, which would leave you at 6 1/2, and 5/8 is the mark right past half. So, and I'm going to cut one more, 4 3/4 by 6 5/8. Okay, and that should give me the size that I need to cover the inside of my book. And I'm going to use liquid glue to adhere this down. So just like that. And I'm using my same art glitter glue. I'll go around really well. Just try not to, because this part, if you're going to mat your pattern papers over this part will be covered for the most part anyway. But I just like to cover it just to it looks neater to me with the all white base or whichever color your binding is. Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. And this part is totally up to you, because if you want to, you can just go ahead and add your pattern paper to that area. But I'm not going to do that because I'm going to show you with this album I planned out to have like maximum amount of photos to be added to this little book. So I wanted a book that can give me at least 38 to 40 pictures or more. And this is like a little brag book. Okay, so we got our book here. Now it's time to work on our pages. Okay, so for our base pages, all of the measurements, you're going to need 6 sheets or 6 pieces of 110-pound cardstock that measure 5.5 by 7. So now I'm going to pull out my heavyweight cardstock, and I'm going to take out 3 sheets of paper, because 3 sheets of the 8.5 by 11 inch paper will give us our 6 pages. So I'm going to cut this to 5.5. So when you cut it in half, you got your 5.5. So I'm going to take these 2 pieces and cut them at 7. And put them together and cut them at 7. Alright. So that gives me 2 pages. Do the same thing here, which I could probably cut these together with this. So we're going to go 5.5. Alright. And then we're going to cut it down to 7. Just like that. So this is what we need to create all of our base pages. So next we need our scoreboard again. Okay, so we're going to put these on the 5.5 inch side, and we're just going to score these at 5 inches. Okay, so we can do this to all 6. All right. Okay, so we have all of our pages scored. Just have that 1/2 inch. So we're gonna add our adhesive, and I'm going to use the 1/4 inch adhesive, double-sided adhesive for this, and I'm just going to add this on that flap to all 6 pieces. Alright, so now we want to burnish this down really good, turn it over, fold it back, burnish it again. Same with this. Turn it over, fold it, burnish, turn it over, fold it, and burnish, turn it over, fold, burnish, turn it over, fold, and burnish. Last one. Alright, so we have all 6 pieces. Now these 6 pieces will go together to make 3 base pages. So I'm just going to start by and we're going to adhere these 2 together. This flap will be on this side and this flap is here. And I just like to line the edges up where I need it to be and press down and then just pull that tab and adhere it together. So you have something like this. So then you turn it over and do the same thing to this side. Okay, so you'll have a base page that has, it's like a little tunnel, just like that. And they'll fit onto your binding piece like that. Okay, these are the pages we're going to use to build off of. So we're going to do the same thing for all of these. So this is a long video, but I feel like this will be a great video for someone who has never made a mini album and wanted to give it a shot. Because I started off scrapbooking and making pages for photo albums and also card making, but when I first started out, I had never made a mini album on my own, and I felt like I loved the tutorials that just walked you through step by step how to do it and wasn't super fast moving. And so I feel like this will be a great like beginner mini album to make. If you've never made one, you should definitely try it out. And this is perfect for displaying your 4x6 photos. It's It'll be a cute mini album to keep on your desk at work or on a shelf at home. Okay, so we got our 3 base pages. Next, we will build off of each base page. So we will end up having 6 pages. So the front and back of each of these we're going to add on to. Okay, so for the first page, I have my little instruction sheet right here. So for the first page, you're going to need a piece of cardstock that measures 5 3/8 by 7. And again, this is our heavyweight cardstock. For all the pages, we're going to be using our heavyweight cardstock. So I'm going to pull out another sheet here and go ahead and get that cut down. So for this page, we're going to do 2 elements. We're going to make a pocket and also just a flap. So we're going to cut this down 5 3/8. So that's 5 1 2 3/8. And then we're going to do that by 7. Okay, then we're going to do a piece that measures 3 inches by 8 inches. Okay. Now I'm going to grab my scoreboard again and do some scoring. So for this one, we're going to lay this one on the 5 3/8 inch side on our scoreboard. So that's this side right here. And we're just going to score at 1/2 inch on one side. So I'm going to go right here and score this at 1/2 inch. So that's all you need to do for this piece. And then for this piece, we want to make a pocket. So we're going to score 1/2 inch on the 2 short sides and 1/2 inch on one of the long sides. So I'm just going to do 1/2 inch, turn, 1/2 inch, turn, and then 1/2 inch. Okay, so that'll make our pocket. And I'm going to take my same double-sided adhesive and go ahead and add adhesive. And I'm adding the adhesive on the outer sides of my score lines where those flaps are. Same on here. I'm going to go ahead and add my adhesive. And I have some Maggie Holmes designer paper that I want to use to decorate this album. Okay, so we're going to fold this one over on the flap over and just burnish it down. Okay, and then for this one, we want to first cut across the corner right where this X, where it makes an X, right across the corner for these pockets. So we're going to cut across this corner and we're going to cut across that corner, and that helps to decrease the bulk of your pocket. Okay, so then you're going to fold, press, fold, and press. So this is going to make our pocket. So then we can bring in page 1, which is our first base page, and remember it's landscape, so we want to make sure we adhere everything in the direction that our book is going to go. So this is the direction. So this is actually going to be a flap that lifts up, and the pocket's going to be at the bottom of the page. So I'm going to go ahead and adhere the pocket down first. So I'm just going to remove the backing to my tape here. And I'm just going to line it up at the bottom of the page and press down. Use my bone folder to really give it a good press all the way across to adhere that pocket. So that's what your page looks like. You have a pocket right there. Okay, and the top of the page, we are going to adhere this flap at the top. So for this one, I'm not going to pull the paper the backing all the way off, because I want to try to get this as close to the edges as possible. And then I'll pull that off and adhere that down. Again, burnish it really well. So here's our first page, flips up to a pocket. So our second page will be the back of this page right here. So turn that over and we'll start on the second page. We are almost at an hour already. So for the second page, you're going to need two pieces that measures 7.5 by 5 inches. So I'm going to take another sheet, one more sheet, and I'm going to cut it 5 inches. Cut another one at 5 inches. Then both of these will be cut at 7.5. 7.5. Okay. Okay, so you bring the scoreboard back out. All right, so on the 7.5 inch side, you're going to lay this on the across 7.5. You're going to score at 7 inches. So it'll give you a 1/2 inch of a little flap there. So you're going to do the same thing with your second piece. Okay. So we'll go ahead and add our double-sided tape, or if you're using liquid glue, just go ahead and add whatever adhesive you're going to use. And okay, finish that down. I'm going to turn this over, and we'll take our base page. This is page 2, so we're going to adhere this part to the left side of our base page to open like this. So we just want to line this up as best as we can and remove that. Press it down really good so this opens up just like that. Okay, so this piece we're going to burnish it and pull back our tab. Now this piece is going to go directly on top of the right side of the page we just added. So we want to add that right to the page that we just added and just line it up. Pull off that excess, and this will give us like a fold out style page. So it'll fold out just like that. Just like that. So this is an area for 3 pages here. Just like that. Okay. So that makes page 1 and 2. So page 3 is going to be just like page 2, but it'll open up in the other direction. So we're going to cut 2 more sheets that are 7.5 by 5 for this one as well. So we're going to cut it at 5 and cut at 5. I'm going to take them both and cut them at 7.5. Alright, move my scraps over to my scrap pile. I'm going to move that over here. Pull out the scoreboard again. And place this on the 7.5 inch side again. And score at 7 inches for both of these. Okay, we'll add our tape. And we're going to do the exact same thing, only we're going to start at the right side of page 3 first. And then we'll okay. Alright, so this was page 1 and 2. So this is going to be page 3. So for page 2, we started off on the left side. So this time we're going to add here this one to the right side. So just line that up, press it down, and pull your little tab. And I love that tip right there. I got that from Rosa Kelly Scrapbooking. I love her channel, y'all. She is really great. If you're a beginner making these mini albums, her channel is really good to watch. Okay, so then this piece is going to adhere exactly on top of this one. So just line up your corners, press down, and pull your tab. So you'll have this one open out this way. So the way your page will be once it's in the book is they'll open out like that. Okay, so then we're going to turn this one over and start on page 4. For page 4, we need cardstock that measures 5 3/8 by 7. So I'm going to do 5 3/8, and we're going to do by 7. Keep all your scraps. I keep all my scraps. Alright, and then for page 4, on the 5 3/8 side, we're going to score 1/2 inch on one side, and this will go to the top of page 4. Okay, so bringing back out my scoreboard, I'm going to place that on the 5 3/8 inside, and I am going to just score at 1/2 inch to create my little flap. Fold it over, burnish it. Okay, and grab page 4, which is the back side of the third one that we did. Pull off, and this is just going to be a really easy flap up. Line up to the top corner, press down, and pull your little tab. And give it a press. So this part just comes up like that. So that is 3 and 4. So now we're going to work on pages 5 and 6, which is also 2 really easy pages to do. So for page 5, you're going to need one sheet that measures 7.5, and I have a scrap piece here, by 5. So I'm going to cut this at 5. I'm going to cut this at 7.5. Alright. And you're going to place it on your scoreboard along the 7.5 inch side. So just like this, long ways. And then you're going to score at 7 inches to make your flap. And this you will adhere to the right side of your page 5. So add your adhesive. Burnish it. Turn it over, fold it. Pull up a little edge there. And you're going to add this to the right side of this page. So you're going to line it up to the right side. Press that corner down, pull your tab, and then just burnish. So this page is just going to open up just like that. So then you'll turn it over to page 6, and this is our last page. Yes, this video is over an hour. I might have to chop it up because I'm not sure how you guys. So for this one, we want to add a pocket, and this is going to be really simple. Pocket's going to be just a little bit larger than the other pocket. So this one is going to be 3.5 by 8. So I have a scrap piece here. I'm going to cut that at 3.5 by 8 inches. And again, for the pockets, you're just going to score both your short sides and one of your long sides. So I just like to place it on the scoreboard and start on one short side. 1/2 inch, turn. 1/2 inch, turn. And 1/2 inch, done. Alright. So then we will add our tape. Then we will cut our corners and add our pocket to our page. I like to fold a little bit, then cut my corners. Right where the two corners cross, that little X, just cut straight across there. And make your pocket. Okay. And go ahead and remove the backing here. Alright, just make sure that my page is right. So I'm turning it over to side 6, and this is going to go along the bottom of page 6. So I just like to line it up right over, press it down. So this pocket is just a tad bit deeper than the other pocket. Alright, so that makes page 6. So we have all of our pages, but this is the pages to go on the hinges. I also want to make photo spots for the inside covers. So for the inside covers, I want to have like a photo flip up. And for this, I am going to do, do I want to do 2 or 3? 3 sheets of 110-pound cardstock that measures 10 by 7. Okay, so I cut this at 10. Then I'm going to cut it at 7. 10 by 7. That's 3. Maybe I'll do 4. Yeah, I wanted to get. Okay, and then I'll do the same for the back and side cover. Okay. Sorry, I'm just changing up some stuff at the last minute. So we got 1, 2, 3. We're gonna do 4 for the inside front and 4 for the inside back, and I'll show you what I mean in just a second. So we're gonna cut this at 10 and 7. All right. And we're also going to need 2 pieces, and I'm using my scraps. These scraps measure 1.5 by 10. So I'm gonna cut this 1.5 down to 7. So I need 2 pieces like this. So 2 pieces that are 1.5 by 7. You're gonna need 2 strips like that. Okay. So I'm gonna cut these other 4 for the inside back cover as well. So this is 10. Cutting these at 10 by 7. 10 and at 7. It's heavyweight, so it's kind of thick. Okay, so we got all of our cardstocks cut. And if you have a lot of cardstock in your craft room, in your stash that you find that you have not been using, making a mini album will definitely help you de-stash. So I'm going to take 1, 2, 3, 4, and we're going to place these on our scoreboard on the 10-inch side, and we're just going to score these all at 5. And I'm just going to do that to all 8 pieces. Score at 5. Score at 5. Score at 5. Now we have all of those scored. Now we're going to take those 2 small strips and we're going to score these. We're going to place these on a 1.5 inch side on the scoreboard, and we're going to score these at 3/4 of an inch all the way down. Three-quarters of an inch. Okay. So all of our scoring is done. Now we can go ahead and fold and crease off. We're basically making these little kind of like booklet types to put together to make a photo flip up. I think I cut that one a little strange, but that's okay. I'm still going to use it. Alright, so we're going to take 4 of these little, it looks like card bases. We're going to take 4 of these and we're going to glue them together. And I'm using liquid glue for this. So I'm using my art glitter glue and I'm just going to apply glue all the way around. Okay. Take one and glue them back to back, just like that. We're going to do this to all of them to make our little booklets. And I cut this one a little wonky. See, it's okay because I am going to be using pattern paper to cover these, so just kind of be careful when you're using the paper trimmers. Okay, and then I'm going to add glue to the top of this one. I have some old pictures that I've never scrapbooked, and I want to just, instead of making page layouts, I just want to make a cute mini album and put those in. And so that's why I'm doing this mini album. It's like a little brag book. Some older pictures of my kids when they were a lot younger. So then this is going to be the last page. And I just noticed that I just cut some of my pages just so bad. I think by me trying to cut multiple these heavy cardstocks at one time, that's what happened. So the corner got kind of messed up, but that's okay. So this is our booklet. So just open it up and just make sure all your pages are pressed together really well. So this is really good to do if you don't have enough space to make like a waterfall. So, but you want that space for the picture. So this can be a picture here, 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 and then of course here and then the back. So, okay. So we got our little booklet. We're going to do the same thing for these. We're just gluing them together. Just make sure you have them all facing in the right direction before you glue them together. Give them a good press. Open them up. Press. Okay. And add some here on top. Time for me to refill my glue. Alrighty. So this one will go right on top. Stand it up. Make sure it's all straight. Now see, I didn't mess up the ends of these 4 like I did the other 4, but that's okay. Still using them all. This, that, okay. And our last one. Yeah. My stomach is growling. I didn't fix nothing for breakfast. I just had my cappuccino right here, which I let get cold on me. So I'm just going to reheat it. Okay. So I got my booklets made. One's going to go on the front of the inside cover. Front cover and the inside back cover. And I'll probably be using magnets for my closures on throughout this little mini album. Okay, so what we're going to do with these 2 small flaps is add a flap to the back, the top back, to where we can insert this into our album. So we'll need to add some double-sided adhesive on both sides of the score line. So I'm just going to go just like that, that side, and like that on that side. Burnish it. I'm going to fold it over. And then we're going to go ahead and clip the very corner off. So just like that on both sides. And this will help us to add this here. So it's going to go to the, so you're going to adhere this piece to the top of your booklet. And this will be the back that adheres to your book. Okay? So I am just going to pull this up, and I'm going to line this up at the top where I want it, at the very top, tip to tip. I'm going to press that down and just like that. So I'm not going to pull off the backing until we're actually ready to put it in the book. So this will go in the inside cover and it'll flip up like a little booklet. Just like that. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing for this. Add our double-sided tape. And if you want to add a little bit of liquid adhesive too, just to make sure it's not going anywhere from the weight of your flip, that is totally a good idea, which I should have probably done, but I'll probably do that when I get ready to add it to the book. Alright, so I'm going to do the same. Look what I did. I went in, I cut the edge the wrong way. Okay, that's okay. Just do just like that. And I am going to adhere this piece. I think I will go ahead and add just a little liquid glue where I don't have tape. And I am going to line this up to the top like so. Pull that extra and go ahead. So this gives us a flap so that we can add this to our book. So that takes care of all of the pages. So next, to add your pages to your book, I'm taking my 1/2 inch double-sided adhesive, and you want to apply your adhesive to the very top of both sides of your flaps. So that is what I'm going to do, just to the top on both sides. Turn that over. I'm going to do the same thing. I really wish I had an overhead view for you guys to see better. But hopefully this is okay. And I probably won't be decorating this on camera. It's just going to be just a tutorial to show you how to make the base for this little mini album. Okay, so we got them all. Alright, so now we can add our pages. So I want to add these pages first. Oh, no. We're going to add the book pages first. So we started off with page 1 as the pocket page with the flap. So the only thing is you're going to have to kind of hold all of the page together as you try to insert, because you're going to insert this tunnel part right on here, and it's going to go like that. Okay, so that is the way we are going to do that, just like that. Alright, so in order to do that, I'm just going to pull away just a little bit of our backing and fold it over like a tab. Okay, so only on the front side. I'm going to open this up and find the middle, place this on here. Just make sure I have it on here. I'm going to slide it down to where I want it. And just try to get it as even as you can going down. Then pull your tab, okay, and go ahead and crease. So I might have even, let's see, I think did I do that? Yeah. So one side is down, so you're going to close that over, grab your little tool pick, and you're just going to lift a little bit, find your tape, and pull it out, just like that. And then you're going to crease that down, just like that. So page 1 and 2 are on. So now you want page 3 and 4. You want to make sure, because it's kind of like a twin page, these two are going to go out like that. So you want to make sure you got it in the right direction. And I'm going to pull a little bit of your flap. So you, okay, find your opening. And again, I like to start at the bottom where the tape is still on. And then I like to push it down to where I need it. And then press and pull out my tab. I find that if I do it like that, it helps me to get my pages in there even as possible. So again, you're going to go with your tool pick, reach in there, find your tape, pull it out, your backing, and press, just like that. So now we just do the same for the last page. Okay, and make sure we have it in the right direction. Same thing. I just like to try to get these pages as even in here as I can possibly get them. Sometimes some of your pages may not be even if you rush this part, which is what I noticed. And as long as you have a tool pick or something like that to reach in there and grab the backing, it's usually pretty easy to get. Okay, so we have our 3 pages, which equals to 6 right here. So now we can go ahead and add our booklets to the inside, front, and back cover. So I am going to pull up a little bit of my tab again, and this time I'm just going to add, I don't know if you can see that, just on the very bottom there is no tape. I'm just going to add a little bit of liquid glue. I think I added a lot of it, but just a little. That's all you need. I'm going to take a little bit of that off with my finger. And I am going to, I'm not going all the way to the top. I'm just going to line that up where my inside covering is to my book. But if you want it all the way to the top, you could definitely do that and pull off the backing. Press that down and just give it a really good press. So that gives you that flip up book, just like that, with your pages. So you got more photo space for the inside, front, and back cover. So same thing with this one. Okay. I'm just going to line this up at the top, just as even as I can get it. Pull off that, just give it a good press, flip my booklet up, and still give it a good press, just like so. So that gives us a picture flip up. So that is the album, guys. So just a quick walkthrough. You have your flip up in the front cover. You have this in your pocket. You turn the page over, and you have this that comes open this way and that way. Or you can do them both as a twin page like that. Turn it over. You have another flip up. This one comes out. Pocket here and another flip. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. This is a super easy beginner tutorial for a 5x7 landscape mini album. So I will be decorating this and coming back on to do a share with you guys after this video has been filmed. I may do the snapshot of the completed album and then post this video. But like I said, guys, if you like this video, give me a thumbs up. Feel free to comment if there was something I did in this video that you didn't understand. If you're not subscribed, click the link below to subscribe. I know this was a super long video, but I tried to make it as easy to follow as I could, and I feel like if I could follow this, hopefully you guys would too, because I'm not like a super fast crafter. But yeah, just a really cute little mini album. And once you get the hang of it, it's super fast to make. It'll be a lot easier to decorate this one. So as always, guys, thank you again for watching, liking, subscribing, and sharing, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.